Now, the 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Brought to you by TireOutlet.com. Wholesale prices, premium service.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
Oh, yeah! Lots of ways for you to interact, including our new drill poll question of the day. It's new. No one else does this.
We thought of this last night. Yeah.
247 votes are in.
Already?
Yes.
Wow.
55% say Nick Foles, 16 Flacco, 17 Bridgewater, which shocks me that more, honestly, more people would want Bridgewater than Flacco. If I were going to rank them, I'd go Foles, Flacco, Taylor, Bridgewater. I'm not big on Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know why, but anyway, what do I know?
Well, he hasn't played much. And
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's far from but in some ways, maybe that is the better one. Maybe there's some unknown to him. The one thing about Flacco and some of the other Tyrod, we know Tyrod Taylor had one barely playoff year with Buffalo and then failed in Cleveland. We know Joe Flacco has been, at least by reports, declining the last few years. At least with Bridgewater, there's some unknown.
I think that's the thought. At least for me, I don't want Flacco because I think wherever that cliff is, the guy's fine. He's falling off of it.
Well, he had 12 touchdowns and 6 picks when he got hurt this year. But you're right. If you go look at his last 4 years, not nearly as good as the previous 4. That's fair. You can just go to @DanHicken on Twitter if you want to play in that game. This is Sports Concepts and Rationalizations coming your way. And at the end of this segment, we like to give away prizes just because that's who we are and that's what we do. And, Beef, what are we giving away today?
Stay tuned for later in the segment. You'll have a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Thomas Rhett live at the Veterans Memorial Arena coming up on...
That's Eric's brother, by the way.
On October 4th, yes. Tom and Rhett is playing with Dustin Lynch, Russell Dickerson, and Rhett Atkins at the arena. Tickets go on sale Friday the 11th at 10 a.m. And you'll also have a chance to score dinner for two from Chick-fil-A.
Oh!
Make it a night.
Oh! I'm in, baby. I'm in. Hey, Jeff, I teased this beforehand, so I'll get this in right away. Start with this, with the NFL. And this is why it's the greatest sport in the world. And Frank Reich made a note of it. By the way, would you ever bet against Frank Reich when he's playing anybody from Houston? That would have been a mistake.
Yeah. No. Did you see that Deshaun Watson showed up for the game in a Warren?
Also a bad sign. Also
he probably
not
doesn't
a smart
even know,
thing.
does he?
I don't know.
What about T.Y. Hilton in the clown mask?
That was also good.
Who says he's retiring that? What was he wearing the clown mask for?
Because somebody on the Texans.
One of the dudes for the Texans said he was a clown.
Something to that effect. So anyway, but I'll start with this. Frank Reich, one of the. If you go back and look at the power polls where it's getting kind of hectic,
Yeah.
In the beginning of the year, and you looked up the Indianapolis Colts, there were at the beginning of the year, before they were 1-5, they were 32 in some of these polls.
Well, this is an easy one to figure out.
DAL.
Yeah.
And I want you to figure it out. But I just thought, we always say there's only a handful of teams that have no shot at going to the Super Bowl. That now may be disproven as well.
Well, no. You're I think you're overlooking the huge variable here.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, they have a top 5 quarterback. We just didn't know. That's why they were last.
Everybody overlooked that huge.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yes.
You would never, if the Colts had Jacoby Brissett, they may have gone 3-13.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about you don't get better, you get better quarterbacks. That's the most glaring example in the history of the world. With Andrew Luck, the Colts are not just a playoff team, a team that wins playoff games, and without him, they're terrible. So,
he's a great quarterback.
He's a great, right. Yeah. Great quarterback, like a top 5 quarterback.
Yes.
Like up there with the Breezes and the Bradys and the Rodgers and the Ryans. That's where he is. He's not down with the Flaccos or the Foles or the Dak Prescott's or a lot of the good quarterbacks. He's one of the great ones. He's one of the top 5 ones. And so to me, the Indianapolis story and how they've gone from 32 to the final 8 is because they went from a quarterback who this time last year was getting his blood spun in the Netherlands to a completely healthy full season. And so, that to me kind of sums up the Indianapolis Colts. Look, I, on record, very vociferously just said, fun while it lasted. But you guys are all getting whacked next weekend. Which of the 4 dogs, and they're all pretty serious dogs, do you have the most confidence in? I know the answer to the question, but I'll ask it so that the Googans can hear you say it.
Yeah, I'll say this anyway. I'm going to keep riding with the L.A. Chargers of San Diego.
It was actually the San Diego Chargers of L.A., but yeah.
Them too. I really think they're a really good football team. And by the way, shout out and good for Gus Bradley to come up with 6'2" stack monster and play a different scheme where he employed an extra safety at the linebacker position, and they totally shut down Baltimore's ground game, which was a big part of why they were able to be victorious. But I don't know. It just might. I just every now and then you think it might be somebody's time, and maybe I'm just wondering if it's their time. Now look. Nobody ever thought the New York Giants were going to go into, Dallas and Green Bay and San Francisco. Sometimes teams get going and get on a roll, and for the Chargers to start with a very nice win over Baltimore, maybe, just maybe, I would never bet against Belly and the boys, but maybe they're the team that could get the W.
Well, it shows how much you like the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles that you're picking the absolute worst one. I mean, you're picking the win in New England, where the Belly and the boys just haven't lost through the years. Let me ask you this, and it's just a sidebar, not a individual 10-minute drill question.
Extra, an addendum.
If the Chargers, the San Diego Chargers of LA, do go in and beat the Patriots, is that it? Is that it for New England? Will that be the moment that we look back and say, "Yep, that was it"?
No, not as long as those
younger.
No, not as long as those two stick
Brady's
around.
not had a good year.
This is just an addendum. I'm sorry, no clock, please. He's not had a bad year, though.
Not had a good year, not had a Brady year, and he'll have a worse year next year. We saw what happened with Peyton. I mean, off the cliff.
Yeah. Bill Cowher on the CBS pregame show, I think, said, your strengths get you into the playoffs and your weaknesses get you out.
That's deep.
Ravens offense, Bears kicking game, Seahawks conservative play calling. What stood out most to you of which team's weakness really cost them?
Well, the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, the Bears, that's what jumps out at you more than anything. The Ravens had won without their offense. They just fell too far behind. That game could have been even uglier, by the way. The Chargers had to settle for field goals all day, it seemed like. I mean, it could have gotten worse than it did.
The Ravens defense is tremendous.
Yeah, the Bears did enough to win the game. They did. They did it. Trubisky made the play that needed to be played. Allen Robinson had a huge game, 10 for 143. The defense, for the most part, stepped up. I've been saying that this year.
What bugged me about the end of the Bears game?
They let Philly go right down the field and score?
No, because they did that. But then
they wasted,
150 to go.
Yeah, they should have called timeout.
And then coaches do this all the time. They get into what they consider field goal range, and they shut down.
Yeah. Get closer.
Trubisky was picking them apart.
Yeah.
Go win the game.
Although I will say this, on the third down with no timeouts left, that was dumb to even run a play.
Dumb. At that point, that was dumb.
You should have just kicked with 11 seconds.
Yes.
But
if you used the timeout with 150, you would still have about 35 seconds.
And this is what Dan's talking about. The Bears led 15-10. Philly was driving, and Philly got it down in first and goal, and the Bears should have started using timeouts then, so if they did score, they would have more time, and if they didn't score, it wouldn't matter. But they didn't, and there was about 30, 40 seconds that they wasted that they could have gotten, closer for a game-winning field goal. So, I would say the Bears kicking. That unbelievable Cody Parkey now 6 times doinked it off an upright. That's unreal.
Bad moment for Bear fan, though. I mean, come on, man. I mean, I know you're frustrated and all, but just to attack is not a good look.
Don't ever be tweet at an athlete, guys.
Yeah, don't do that, guys.
You know what, if you're an athlete, then don't be on Twitter, and you don't hear any of that nonsense. Let them all rile each other up if you're not on Twitter. You don't obviously, everyone in the world hates you.
Yeah.
I mean, that was in 1974, too, when we didn't have any Twitter. So, they were throwing bricks to Bill Curry's office in Alabama in the 80s. So, that's been around.
Get out, coach!
Here, let me tell you a narrative that I'm really interested to see if they'll all eat crow this week.
Uh-huh.
Did you hear this narrative this weekend? Well, yeah, we all saw that that Rams Chiefs game, and for all of you thought that the NFL was headed towards point a minute to, offenses to be successful, we showed you this weekend that that's not necessarily still the case. And then I thought to myself, well, yeah, except for the point a minute offenses all took the week off. Let me see what Philly does against New Orleans, and let's see what Dallas does against the Rams, and let's see if the Chiefs are curtailed by the Colts before we go declaring that defense and running the ball is still what wins.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Those defenses were – that new-look NFL took a timeout this weekend, didn't they?
Right, and the defenses didn't – look, I don't know statistically, but in my mind, Baltimore and Chicago are the 2 best defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the rest of the postseason on television with the rest of us.
Jeff, just let me throw this hypothetical at you because it's now only 2 steps away from reality, and 3 weeks ago it was 5 steps away from reality. So while you don't think it's going to happen, I want you to play the hypothetical and assume that it does happen.
All right.
And that is simply this. In all honesty, what if Nick Foles just gets Philadelphia back to the Super Bowl? What do the Eagles do then?
Here is the problem.
In all honesty, you cannot bench Nick Foles if he gets them back to the Super Bowl.
Well, I can, and I'll tell you why.
Uh-huh.
Because Carson Wentz is better than Nick Foles, so I can bench him very
Sometimes guys are
confidently.
better fits for their team.
How has Carson Wentz not been a good fit when he's been healthy? It's not like he's played bad. The only reason he's ever gone to the bench has been because of an injury. Now, if you're worried about Wentz being injury prone,
Yes.
Maybe. But here is something you have to remember.
You're not keeping, again.
You're not keeping Wentz and Foles. No. Right. If you're asking me, am I keeping Wentz or Foles? I'm keeping Wentz.
I'm not asking you that. I'm asking you if Nick Foles gets the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
If he beats the Saints
and
goes and beats the Cowboys or the Rams, what are you going to do what are you telling your football team in the offseason when Nick Foles leaves, if that's what you're going to do?
Lucky for you guys, we got a better guy who was hurt, is what I'm telling them. Here's what you have to remember.
Carson Wentz this year, by the way, with that same team was 5-6.
With just 2 years ago, Dan, now 3 off seasons, you have to remember what the Eagles did.
Yes.
They traded a first, a third, a fourth,
I understand.
Another first, and another second just to move up to 8th, from 8th to 2nd. They gave up an awful lot, and you know what?
What?
They were smart. They did it right. They hit a home run. So I'm not keeping Nick Foles over Carson Wentz in any scenario ever. If you do, I won't, insult you. The guy has won Super Bowls.
Okay.
All right.
I was just asking.
Good or bad for college? Here's another. I talked about a narrative I hated.
Yeah.
Here's another one. These dimwits that don't know anything about college football suggesting to me that Clemson, Alabama for the 4th straight year is a bad thing tonight.
Yeah, I think it's in this respect. I don't mean to side with the dimwits. What did you call them?
Dimwits. Yeah.
I don't mean to be king of the dimwits, but
too late for
if you're a casual college football observer, you're not as excited as seeing Alabama Clemson, I don't think.
Well, here's where
I just saw them last year and the year before and the year before.
I don't think there is a casual college football observer.
Well, that's what. And
you're a college football fan and you're watching.
You're obviously correct by the fact there'll be some empty seats at Levi Stadium. College football is much bigger in the South than it is anywhere else in the country.
It's just the wrong year to make the argument to me. For the first time ever, somebody's going to win 15-0.
I get that.
I want the 2 best teams to play. So the casual fan will be more excited if it were Notre Dame, Alabama?
I'm just a little tired. I'm just a little tired of Clemson and Alabama. I'm tired of Nick Saban. I'm tired of Dabo. I'd like to see somebody else up there.
I would also
somebody by the name of Dan Mullen.
I would also like to add.
Is there anything wrong with that?
I would also like to add.
Yes, sir.
That
is this an addendum or is this part of my time?
No. This is what we're talking about.
Right.
That Alabama played Georgia for the title last year to all these guys, to all the analysts.
And they met in the Final Four.
I understand, but they seem to
slide that by.
Yeah, they seem to act like they played 4 straight championship games as well.
I get that. All right,
that's the best matchup, and I would want to see this unless it was Georgia against one of those two.
Yes.
I think those 3 are better than everyone.
Yeah, that's
Georgia just lost to Texas.
All right, that's what sports concepts and rationalizations are in today's 10-minute drill. We're going to take no time for the Knicks-Lakers conversation. And
the Hawks have won again, ladies and gentlemen, 3-0 against the Heat this year.
That's great. Or the
didn't even get the Tibbs.
Or the Walker Lockett trade, or the Mets acquiring a key piece to their championship team in Keon Broxton.
Yes.
Caller number 3 today, though, is taking home tickets and din-din at Chick-fil-A. That's right. A pair of tickets to see Thomas Rhett coming up October 4th. At the Veterans Memorial Arena. I'm told by our friend,
I like it.
The recently deceased Lauren Brooks, that Rhett Atkins playing with Tom Rhett is his dad. You can catch them at the arena October 4th.
Eric Rhett then is the cousin.
Correct.
Okay.
Tickets on sale Friday morning at 10 a.m. And you'll also get dinner for 2 from Chick-fil-A.
Caller number 3.